Alright, man, what's going on, guys? It's Wintro, and I'm back again. And I have another topic that I wanted to speak on. Yes, I'm still in the car, so just bear with me. And this is going to be about the internet and what I believe the internet was supposed to have been and what it became instead. This is a topic that I've been thinking about, to be honest with you, since I was a teenager. And, as we get into the 2020s now, it becomes more and more clear what the internet did, in fact, become. And yeah, I think it's a very interesting topic. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. So, the internet was supposed to be a utility for freedom, right? If anything, the internet became more of a test of what people do when they have said freedom. But to preface this, the internet was supposed to be something in which everybody could use and speak to anybody in the world and look up any topic that they want, right? That was what the internet initially was. If you remember the early days of the internet, when we had, just the forums or the image boards or the early days of YouTube and whatnot, YouTube poop, all that type of stuff. It was just creative content, generally funny content, not really taken too seriously, seen more as a prop or as a, like, sort of, new strange thing, like kind of like going to the circus and seeing some weird animal you've never seen before and then kind of going home. Nobody ever really took the internet that seriously. It was just a thing that people used, occasionally for work, but mostly, just using it to see what was out there in the world, pretty much being a pirate, pretty much, like from One Piece or something. You're just going around the world exploring, looking at things. That's what the internet originally was. But as time has gone on, and as the internet has become more and more ingrained into people's everyday lives, it's become not that, right? But here's the interesting thing. The internet itself didn't really change that much, right? It was never a monopoly to begin with, and it didn't become a monopoly by force. Now, what I mean by monopoly is how everybody just rotates through the same apps every single day: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, and whatever other app that they may use. But that's because people chose to do that. Now, yes, there was a lot of addictive psychology put within these different apps, especially ones like Instagram, and there was another, TikTok, there we go. You know, those ones, right? But people were never necessarily forced to just be on these apps. People to this day could have kept using the internet as a place for freedom, as a place to have their beliefs challenged, right? As a place to see what other people think. We've never had anything like this in the history of humanity. Never before could you see other people's thoughts. Today, we effectively have telepathic thought reading, with things like Twitter and just pretty much every app. You can see what people really think, unfiltered, unmasked, all of that different type of stuff. So, yeah, that's what the internet originally it was freedom, right? The complete and utter freedom to read whatever article you want at your own discretion. But people allowed it to get to the point that it's at now, in which it's all about echo chambers or all about agreeing with the right thing or being programmed, the whole NPC meme, of people not thinking for themselves. This only arose because people forgot their freedom. They gave it up, right? And it's actually essentially human psychology was tested to the nth degree, yes, but it was still a test that we could have either passed or failed. People used the internet and started to get caught, right? They started to get into echo chambers. They started to stop thinking for themselves, when the internet is a wealth of information. And let me really speak about that point there too. The internet is a wealth of information. There is so much information all over the internet. You can read books from people from the 1700s, from the 1500s, from the 1000s, from BC. Like you can read all of these things whenever you want. You can learn about every state and era in human history. You can sit on YouTube for hours and hours watching What If Alt Hist, learning about all different manners of history, the way people thought, the way that they fought wars, attacked their enemies, their plans, their generals, the way the women lived, the way the men lived, the way the children lived. You can learn about the Roman Empire, the Egyptian Empire, the Greek Empire, Greco-Roman society, African society, everything. You have everything at the tip of your fingers. Back in the day, you would have had to go to a library, pick up a million different books to be able to gain the amount of information that you can gain in one day on the internet. That's the type of timeline that we're living in now. But what did we end up using it for? We ended up using it for hedonistic pleasures, for the animal brain, for not really thinking, to not really actually think for ourselves. We allowed other people to put thoughts into our minds and said, yes, that is reality. I don't want to think for myself, because human psychology was tested by the internet, and humanity failed, fam. They failed. Humanity failed with the internet because the general person did not want to think for themselves. They allowed the animal psychology that was being tested to fail. And so we have the internet today, in which people don't really think for themselves. People are just allowing themselves to be spoken to, right? To be programmed. This is not normal. This is not natural. This is not how things should be. The human mind is a beautiful thing. It's wide, it's vast. You look at the sculptures throughout history, the things that we created, Michelangelo, um, all these different things that we had created, man. But man, we allowed ourselves to be lazy, to be mentally lazy. That's what this really comes down to. The whole social media rot, brain rot, Gen Alpha rot, all this different type of stuff that we're seeing going on with the internet, TikTok brain and all that, is because humanity got mentally lazy. These companies, this great monopoly that we're under, Meta, whatever you want to call it, they don't have ultimate power. Yes, they can attack the human, the human psychology, the animalistic side of the brain. But we human beings have been given something by God that no other animal has been given, and that is free will and free choice. We could have chosen to be smarter, to not allow ourselves to be programmed by these various different applications, these various different media sources, these various different people online, and the companies behind them and the algorithm and whatnot. But we fell. It's like a man who is who's been locked away, who's being told you can either have another burger today and eat and stay in the jail that we've put you in, or you can go a day without food and we will release you and let you go free. That is the element of human choice. And what did we choose? We chose, give me that burger. We said to Pontius Pilate, we want the murderer. Take Jesus. That's what we've done. And once we start to realize these things and take responsibility, because people talk about the big companies and whatnot, big tech and whatnot, and they're destroying the people. Yes, they are. Absolutely, yes, they are. But the people are always able to fight back. A general population is always able to fight back against its oppressors, against the ones that seek to manipulate them. Just as Adam and Eve were able to fight against Satan, but chose not to. And how would they fight? By obeying God, by using their own mind, making their own free will choice, and not trying to push the blame onto somebody else. That is how we fight. We could have fought by saying, no, I'm going to hold on to my integrity. I'm not going to be programmed. I'm going to stop. But we didn't, because we wanted to be lazy and indulge in the pleasures, the false pleasures that the internet give unto us. So, yeah, I am pretty busy right now, which is why I would love to make this video like a million times longer, but I do have to go and do stuff. I've got to get out the car. I'm parked right now. I've been parked for the past 6-7 minutes. So yeah, man. Hey, to all you guys, man, God bless, and I'll give you a quick Bible verse. And man, which one will I use? I will use one from Matthew, off the top of my head. And that's when Jesus says, many will come unto me on that day and say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not heal people in your name? Did we not cast out demons through your name? And I will say unto them, depart from me, ye workers of iniquity, for I never knew you. So If you want to make it into heaven, you got to know Jesus. You don't just say Jesus. You don't just preach Jesus. You must know Jesus. You must have a relationship with Jesus. You must have a relationship with God. So, all right, guys, another video from me, Wintro. I'm making a lot more, man. I'm really getting into this video creation cycle. So if you're here early, if you're one of the early ones on my channel, listen, man, you're early, bro. You know, you're here for the ride. You know, you're gonna see how it goes, man. So, hey, blessings to you. So, hey, it's been Wintro. God bless you all, and peace.